Welcome everybody to our special webinar on the Credco application process for groups that are not using Credco currently, and ideas that you'd be able to switch over and what the process is like, what the application looks like. This is going to be a deep dive into all the details that you need to know. Obviously, you need to be a member of NHRC in order to qualify for the preferential pricing that we have with Credco. I'm Bruce Dorr-Palin from the National Housing Resource Center, and Matthew Goodrow is with me as well. And we have a crew of people from Credco, Tammy Foster, and I don't have the other names in front of me, but we really appreciate the fact that they've done such a great job here. And I have to say, this has been a terrifically smooth transition so far. We've gotten quite a few groups already signed up under the program, and we're glad to work with others to get them signed up as well. So the whole idea behind this particular seminar the webinar is really to try to provide you as the agency on the ground with the information you know that you would need to make the changeover to Credco as you go ahead. So with that note, we have Tammy Foster. Oh, thanks, Matthew. And we have Andrea Mesa and Lacia Renta from Credco and from CoreLogic Credco. Welcome all of you. And we should have actually, just one more quick note, you should have received in your inbox within the last hour an email from me with the materials that we're going to be using to review this for the webinar. So rather than putting it on the screen, you can have it on your laptop and or your computer screen, and look at it more closely that way. So with that note, let me hand it over to our CoreLogic Credco team. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Bruce, and welcome everyone to the phone call. This has certainly been a really great opportunity for everyone, especially for those that are existing and for those that are coming on board. Hopefully everyone has gotten the pricing that has been approved. If not, let us know and we can get that for you. This call is specifically for those companies that currently do not have an existing relationship with CoreLogic Credco, as it will require you to fill out some compliance paperwork. So this call is basically to go through that compliance paperwork step by step with some additional things at the end to discuss. So hopefully everyone has that email, and hopefully everyone is able to open up that document. I apologize, I don't have slides for everyone to go through it. So hopefully everyone has that. If not, let us know. And then I'm just going to go ahead and get started. It is a 13-page document that everyone should be looking at. The title on the first page of the document says Account Enrollment Process. So this is the process you'll need to take in order to establish an account with us. So I'm just going to start off on number one. So the agreement for service and the customer profile. Those are specifically going to be pages 4 and page 9, 10, and 11. And we'll go over those pages individually when we get there. We also need you to, actually for number 2, it says continuing guarantee. I'm going to have you omit that. That continuing guarantee is not required, and that is going to be page 8. So you can omit page 8 from that. Number 3, your nonprofit status. So we do need a copy of your 501c3. For those of you that are in a taxable state, such as Texas, Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Washington, we do need you to provide a separate state tax exempt document. If you don't have one, let us know and we can provide you with that. Item number 3, the proof of bona fide business. So we do need a business license. If you don't, we'll look it up. Oh, there is the information. Thank you so much, Matthew. That's awesome.
I'm sorry, which page are we on?
Page 1.
Okay, sorry.
Right now we're looking at number 4. Proof of bona fide business. So we do need a copy of your business license. If you don't have that for some strange reason, we will look it up for you, or we can use your 501c for that as well. Next item, number 5, business phone bill. It would be very helpful in the compliance process to provide a copy of the phone bill. We certainly do not need all pages of the phone bill, and if you don't have one, that's fine. We will validate your phone number when we do your office inspection. Item number 6, you can completely omit that. We do not need a copy of your government photo ID, and I will discuss that later when we get towards the end of the paperwork as well, as it may be required towards the end. Number 7 is a letter of intent. So we need a letter on your company letterhead that provides confirmation of what your intent will be for accessing the credit report. We will see later on as we go through the individual pages that there is a form letter on there for you towards the back of the paperwork. Item number 8, housing counseling membership. So we do require that everyone that signs up with us be a HUD-approved credit counseling agency. So we're, there we go. Section B and Section C is no longer required. So we do require the HUD. If you have a HUD certification, that would be helpful if you can attach that to the paperwork when you send it back. If you don't, we will look up the your HUD status on the HUD.gov website. For those of you that are not a HUD...
Can I just jump in here? Sure. But if somebody's working through an intermediary, you have a process for that as well, right?
We do, yes, exactly. So if you are not a HUD-approved credit counseling agency, contact myself or Alicia or Andrea, and there is an additional document that we can provide to everyone that's not HUD-approved. This document would need to be signed and completed by a company that is HUD-approved, and basically it's just stating that they'll make sure that you follow the HUD guidelines for credit counseling. It's a very simple letter. You would have them complete it, and then you would attach that to your compliance paperwork to cover for that HUD requirement. So I know there's a lot of questions usually up to this point, so I'll see if anyone has any questions that they want to go over so far.
We do not, but I will just remind folks that if you do have questions, if you could just put them into the question box and we will get to them. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so then we're going to go down to the additional documentation for credit counselors. So item number 1, copy of consumer authorization. So we do need to know what you are asking your clients or applicants to sign, just to make sure that you are getting their authorization for pulling their credit report. So we do need a copy of that. Item 2, blank copies of contracts between Consumer Credit Counseling Service and their client. So basically this would be like an intake form or some other contract that you have them sign. So we need a copy of that. Item number 3, we do need a copy of a fee disclosure document. So certainly if that is a part of your intake forms, that can be a part of that. If not, we do need a separate document on your company letterhead that states if you are going to be charging for any fees of any sort. Doesn't necessarily have to be for the credit report costs. If you do not charge for any fees or any services, we would need a letter on your company letterhead that states that you currently don't charge any fees, and then just have that signed by whoever's signing the rest of the paperwork. Item number 4, copy of brochures and marketing information provided to consumers. So any brochures that you guys have that you pass out during any kind of event of some sort, any type of marketing stuff that you might have, my compliance team will do a complete review of your company's website. We'll be checking to see if you are doing any other types of businesses. I do want to highly mention that if you do have anywhere on your website or brochures that indicates that you're doing credit repair, you might want to change that to more credit education, credit counseling. Our compliance team will not proceed with the application verification process if they find credit repair anywhere. So again, if you have that credit repair, please change that to credit education or credit counseling. Number 5, copy of dual role disclosure forms. So basically, I've never seen a credit counseling agency provide that. If you don't have that, that's fine. You can omit number 5. But if you do have something that indicates a dual role disclosure form, then please provide it. Yep, that was number 5.
What is dual roles? What does that mean? What does the term mean?
So sometimes it could be where a credit counseling agency is doing multiple services for an applicant. Maybe they do counseling and they do lending, or maybe they're doing some other role. To be honest with you, I've never seen one provided, so I don't know if I can completely explain that because I've not seen it. But if you know what it is and you can provide it, then please provide it. If not, don't worry about it.
Great.
And I apologize. I'm trying to undo that highlighting, and I'm just going to stop doing that. But someone asked if you could explain number 2 again under additional documentation.
Sure. So blank copies of contracts between Consumer Credit Counseling Service and their client. So this would be it's usually an intake form, some type of form that you are having the applicant fill out, with their information. Any kind of contract that you have the applicants fill out would suffice.
And someone said statement of non-obligation. I'm not sure if that.
I'm sorry, say that again. Statement
of non-obligation.
Non-obligation. I would
that
probably include that in the contract. I'm assuming that means that they're not obligated to maybe do a loan with them or to, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But, if that's something that you have the applicant sign, then yes, please include that as a part of number 2.
Great. And someone, I think, just on the dual role disclosure form said that would be a disclosure for those agencies that offer multiple services.
That would work too. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So right below that, it says, for your convenience, we've included a fax cover sheet. Please fax the above mentioned documents in sign mode to that fax number. Actually, if you please do not fax that. Please email your completed application and all the required documents to myself. And you can include Andrea and Lucia in that, but it'd be helpful if you can at least email it to me. That way I know that it's coming as a member of NHRC. Also, in addition to these documents, it'd be very helpful if you include that authorization from Bruce indicating that you are a current member, so that I know that we'll be able to give you the NHRC fees. If that's not included, then you might get the regular fees, which I'm sure nobody wants. I'm going to go under the compliance review section now. So item number 1 is just basically letting you know that we're going to be doing a review and a verification of all the documents. Item number 2, the physical inspection. So we do require to have a physical inspection of your office location. There is a fee of $199. That includes the inspection and the activation fee. You will not see that fee again unless you move your office location or need to set up an additional location, and that would be an additional $99. I don't have a list to provide everyone in regards to what the inspection is going to entail. However, it is going to be more or less of a security inspection. So they're going to probably take a few pictures of the office, like your sign or your door. They will want to know if you share office space with any other companies. If so, what type of company? They're going to also want to know if you have a shredder and a lock file cabinet. They'll want to know how many people work in your office, if your PCs are password protected, and who has access to office equipment. Those are the main points. And very rarely will I have a credit counseling agency not pass the inspection. The ones that don't usually have credit repair banners set up within their office, or they could be sharing office space with some strange company that doesn't meet the criteria. Item number 3, customer notification. So once the compliance review is complete, we will be emailing the account information to everyone. So depending upon which client management system you're going to be using, the notifications will be geared to that specific one. So for example, if you're using Counselor Max, we will be sending the Counselor Max information directly to the Counselor Max support desk for them to input the account information into your profile. For RX Office, works the same way. So when we create those account numbers, we're going to email it to the RX Office support desk. They'll put the account number in your profile, and then you'll be able to pull. For HCO, it's a little bit different. For HCO, we'll be sending everyone their own account number, and then an administrator of HCO will need to input your account numbers into your HCO system. And then with that, everyone will get access to Credco.com, and typically we'll send you a username and password. Everyone's username would typically be an email address, and then a temporary password is sent for you to reset it the first time you log in. Setup time throughout the whole process, from the beginning to when we receive your application to when your account information is emailed to you, is approximately 2 weeks, give or take a day or so, to allow the inspection to be completed and the full review to be done and for the account information to be created. I feel like I went through that really fast. Any questions so far?
Yes, and I'll just let folks know for kind of general questions, I'm going to save them for the end, but on things you just went over, can folks use a proprietary client management system?
Yes and no. Our primary ones are Counselor Max, HCO, RX Office, and coming very quickly is VistaShare. VistaShare right now is going through a testing process. They should be up and running soon. I don't have an ETA on that. But if there is a proprietary system that you're using, I would have to get you guys in touch with our integration team, and they would work with you in regards to that proprietary system. That could lengthen the setup time.
Okay. And does the information on the credit report auto-populate on Counselor Max to the main applicant only when requesting a joint request?
Individual and joint requests, yes. Counselor Max will auto-populate all the liabilities from the credit report directly into that applicant's loan. I think it's under the loan tab in Counselor Max, but it does auto-populate the data. Same thing with HCO, and same thing with RX Office.
Okay. And this is great. This is from going back to the person who had asked about the proprietary CMS. They said, can we not just pull the credit report from Credco?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, if you don't want to go through that integration process, you will definitely have access to our website, Credco.com.
Great. That's
to
all
order the credit report. Sure. Okay, so if there are any other questions, we'll go to the next page. And Matthew, if you could, I'm going to have you go all the way to page 4. Pages 2 and 3, you can read at your leisure. This basically is a bunch of legal information in regards to the agreement. If you go towards the bottom of page 4, there you go. So this is basically where the agreement is signed and filled out. So company name, address, signature date, title. Want to point out at the bottom of this form the intended use of credit reports and the nature of business. Intended use and nature should both include something in regards to credit counseling, credit education, first-time homebuyer assistance, etc. If you are a HUD-approved credit counseling agency, you can match what you have on the HUD listing, but make sure those are filled out. Additional locations covered by this agreement. If you have multiple branches or additional locations where services are going to be provided, you can list that there, or you could provide an additional document with that information on it. Okay, so let's go to page 5. So page 5, this is our credit expert addendum. Everyone does need to fill that out, especially if you want to access to credit expert. So on this page, you're just going to put the dates. So you put in the day you're signing the paperwork and the date that you're putting in the agreement. Page 6. There you go. Again, this is just where you put in your company name, signature, print, title, email. Account number will be blank, especially since you don't have one yet. So that's fine to leave that blank. Next page. Exhibit A, Consumer Authorization and Release. This document is provided for sample purposes only. If you currently don't have your own consumer authorization, you're welcome to use this one. If this is the one that you're going to be using, we do need you to include that in the paperwork, although we're assuming everyone should have their own authorization. And you can, if you don't, you can use this as an example to create your own as well. Go to page 8. Again, page 8, you can completely omit. Let's go to page 9. Page 9, this is our customer profile. We do need all the information to be filled out. It's a pretty lengthy document. It's pretty basic. Company information, branches, length in business, number of employees. Annual revenue is not required. You can put that in if you want to. Office location, length of time. Everyone should be in a commercial location. If you're in a residential office, this won't work. It'll get declined. Loan origination software. So this would be for a broker or lender to indicate which LOS they're using, such as Encompass or Calyx. But as a credit counseling agency, please indicate which client management tool you're using. So Counselor Max, RX Office, HCO. Don't worry about the version. If you do have a current credit report vendor, if you could indicate that too, although it's not required. Corporate company name, if you want to put that in there as well, that'll be helpful. It's not needed. Contact information should be pretty straightforward. Whoever the primary contact is, which is going to be the person I'm going to be in contact primarily to discuss the setup or any other issues that come across. Compliance, account contact, whoever we need to contact in regards to compliance issues, although usually it is the primary contact. And then number 3, who to contact for the physical inspection. And number 4, who to contact in regards to billing. And just in regards to billing, just so everyone knows, when the account is set up, everyone will be set up with access into our e-bill site, which means that a login will be created for the billing contact for the e-bill site. And then once an invoice is available, they'll get a notice in their email letting you know that an invoice is available to download. There'll be a link. They just click on the link, and that will take them into the e-bill site. They log in, and the bill will be available. The bill will be available if you want it in PDF or in Excel. And the invoice will have an itemized list of all the reports that have been pulled. I have a feeling there'll be billing questions later. So any questions so far?
No, which I think will take as a sign that you're explaining it very clearly, but just a reminder that if folks have questions, to use the question box, please.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so on to page 10. So page 10 is somewhat self-explanatory. We need you to check off what type of business you are. Make sure that you select the tax exempt button, state tax exempt. And again, it asks for the nature of business and intended use of credit reports. Again, this should match what you have indicated in that section on the agreement for service on page 4. Below that, we've got all these little check boxes. Please do not check any of those boxes, especially the, well, you can do the financial counseling, but it'd be best if you leave all of those blank. And no, do not check them. Right below that, it says, will the company or does it intend to resell information from the consumer credit report? You'll want to make sure that you check no. If you do, then there's a problem. Business references, credit references. So we do need some business references. This would be just to verify what type of business you're conducting. We do not need an account number. However, at least the company name and their phone number would be helpful. Credit references. We will be pulling the business credit report first, and if there's no references on the business report, we will need to have at least one credit reference. If you're renting a landlord, information would be preferable. Let's go to page 11. So we do need the name and the title of the person that's going to be signing all of the documents. The signature section should all be done by the same person, and including their name there in the title. Under authorized signature, so this section does need to be completed. We do need principal name and date. We do not need the current home address, city, state. We do need the signature and title, and we do not need the social security number nor the date of birth. So you can leave the current home, social, and date of birth off of this form, but we do need the rest and the signature. So again, we're going to be pulling a business credit report first. So if for some reason the business credit report does not pass, for example, if the business report has no score or has no data or has a lot of negative data, then we will need to pull a credit report on someone within the organization that's going to be responsible for the account. If that for some reason is going to be needed, we'll reach out to you guys to let you know it's going to be needed. But at this time, you can leave that section blank. Page 12. So this is the letter of explanation that we discussed on the very first page. So this does need to be on your company letterhead. It's pretty self-explanatory. Check the boxes that apply. I want to point out towards the bottom, it says, there it is, the company will or will not use consumer reports for extension of credit. Please make sure you check off will not. And then signature, name, title. So this does need to be on your company letterhead. I do know that there's a handful of credit counseling agencies that do lend loans or do loans as well. If you do, we do need to set up a completely separate agreement for you. We would set up a separate account with separate credentials as well. So if anyone is doing that, let us know, and then we can get you those separate agreements.
So what you're saying there is you'd have two accounts, one for the loan-related hard pulls and a separate one for the soft pull for credit and housing counseling. Is that
correct?
Fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I think this is going back to the last page, but someone asked, does it have to be an officer signing the agreement or can it be the executive director?
Whoever has signing authority to bind contracts for the company would be the person that signs everything.
Great, thank you.
So as long as they have, yeah, sure, as long as they have that title that indicates or implies that they do have signing authority, that's fine. So page 13. Page 13 is just a cover sheet. I am going to ask that you fill this out. It does help in regards to some contact information. Certainly don't fax it. Again, please email it to us. And then it does have a checklist at the bottom for you to make sure that you've included everything that's required, with the exception of the continuing guarantee and the photo ID and the phone bill. And that should be it.
Great.
That's compliant.
Bruce,
I
did
got
you
it
have
under
any?
30 minutes.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Bruce, do you have any questions or just?
Well, just one quick informational thing. So when you're submitting this application, Tammy mentioned this, but I was going to just reinforce it. You also need to include a letter from me, which says that you are up to date on your membership and are eligible. And most recently, when people have been renewing their membership or joining, I've been including that in the materials we send people. I probably won't do that forever, so when you're joining or renewing, just mentioning if you need that letter, that would be great to know, and I'm happy to send them out.
Thank you. And if it's not included, then you're not going to get the NHRC pricing. So it's very important that you send that if you want to get those special rates.
Great. A couple people asked, if they're already using Credco, what is the process? And we should just stipulate that they're NHRC members. If you're using Credco and you're not an NHRC member, you should be in touch with us, and we can make sure we get you signed up as members. But what is the process for NHRC members who are already using Credco?
Yeah, so if you're an existing Credco customer, and then when I say CoreLogic Credco, I'm not referring to anybody that is pulling credit reports through our rental property solutions or any other type of solution through CoreLogic. Those do not meet the criteria. So if you're using those, we still need to have your compliance paperwork. If you are currently pulling through CoreLogic Credco, we just need an email or document from Bruce letting us know that you're now an active, up-to-date member. And then we'll update your pricing and we'll send you a notification once that pricing has been completed.
Great. And just a couple folks asked what the pricing difference is if you're a non-NHRC member.
Yeah, sure. So for non-NHRC members, I'm just going to make sure I total it up correctly. Sorry. It's $23.05 plus a bureau surcharge of 90 cents per applicant. For NHRC members, it's $13.72 per applicant for a 3 bureau plus the bureau surcharge of 90 cents. So that's $14.62. And on both prices, if you are using Counselor Max, there's a third-party fee associated with Counselor Max. It's $1.50 per applicant. If you're using RX Office, the third-party fee is 60 cents per report. HCO does not have any third-party fees, and you will not incur third-party fees if you're using the Credco.com website directly. I'm not sure at this point if Vista Share will have a third-party fee because it's still too new, and I don't think that's been approved yet regarding the third-party fees for Vista Share. So it's a really significant savings.
Great. Someone asked, well, a couple of questions. They asked if a for-profit can join NHRC, and that you cannot. You need to be a nonprofit. You need to be a nonprofit to join NHRC. I suppose, kind of unrelatedly, can a for-profit company join Credco?
If they are lending money for a mortgage, well, if they're lending money, yes. If they are wanting to do credit counseling, then no. It is a requirement for the credit counseling side to be a nonprofit.
Great. And someone just asked if the fees you just ran down are for single or co-applicant?
Single. If it's co-applicant or if it's a joint credit report, you would just times that by 2.
Great. That's all the questions we have for now. We'll give folks maybe just another minute while we kind of wrap up if anyone has any last minute questions they want to ask, but we did just put the contact info back on the screen. Bruce, Tammy, anything you want to say while we're just giving folks another second?
I do. So I believe in the call that we're going to be having next week on April 5th, I will be going over some specific information in regards to how to read a credit report, which will include our sample, and then we'll also do a brief overview of our Credit Expert products as well.
All right. And I'll just let folks know, if you are not an NHRC member and you're interested, please do reach out to Bruce or I, and we will make sure we get you on as NHRC members. Bruce?
Well, I think it's been a great experience so far, so I think it's a good opportunity. We're glad to work with whoever is interested in doing this. We'll have Tammy back again, as she said, on the leaders call next week. We're also going to be featuring Ralphine Caldwell from the Charlottesville Mecklenburg Housing Partnership around their innovative program where a counseling agency is providing down payment assistance, the city's down payment assistance program. This is kind of a program that a number of counseling agencies are doing around the country that's very, very valuable, and one of the new ways that we're hoping groups can learn to diversify their business and become more sustainable. This is a record. This webinar was recorded, so you'd be able to go back to our website, and if you wanted to share that with other staff members, and we'll do another one in a couple months to a broader pool of people in the housing counseling world. The recording would be on our website at www.hsgcenter.org, and then we have a media library. And for this next week, it'll be the top one on the list. Then next week, the leaders call will be on top of that, but it should be easily accessible. So I think, unless there are any other thoughts here, this was very helpful, and we're very interested in what people's experiences are. Please let us know what you're learning as you're trying out the new product, but it sounds very helpful. So far, it's been actually gone very smoothly.
Awesome. Yeah, and thank you so much, Bruce, for putting this together, and Matthew. I appreciate that, and certainly let myself, Andrea, or Alicia know if there's any questions, or if anybody has anything else that they wanted to address, let us know.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, all.
Have a great afternoon. Bye.
Thank you.